Should we hold back from being intimate, as in putting the old P in the V or the V to V or the P to B or B to P or, all the different ways that we combine forces and fluids and all the stuff? Should we hold back early in the dating process? I'm going to argue yes. However, I'm going to give you why, and also, hey, you be you and you get to decide what you want to do. So nothing about what I'm saying has anything to do with morality or any of that crap. It's not religious. I just want to talk about human dynamics and human relating and what can go wrong when we're intimate too early. Listen, when people are in a dating process, especially early, it makes sense that we would experience anxiety. We don't know where we stand yet. And you have to remember that relationally, you're always asking, am I safe? And am I safe to be me? So your attachment system is constantly surveying every relationship you have in your life. Now, in the dating process, you're assessing these things. So if you're intimate right off the bat, now if you're looking to just for a bang and it's just a sexual relationship, then hey, you do you. But if you're looking for a relationship, a long-term partnership, marriage, whatever that might be, as soon as you give it up too early, you're actually putting yourself physically in a circumstance that the other person hasn't yet proven that they should be in your body or yours and theirs or however it works for you guys. What also happens is, hey, there's a ton of hormones and chemicals that are released in our bodies when we experience arousal and orgasm. Ideally, you're getting those. There's a ton of hormones that are released, and those hormones cause us to feel bonding. Well, that makes sense. So when someone says, I can't believe I caught feelings when I'm in a situationship or a friends with benefits, and I got a video on that I put in the show notes. Of course you caught feelings. That's actually what you're designed to do. It's normal. If you're a woman and you're having sex with somebody, then of course you're preparing to potentially have a child with them. Now look, some of us are just not good at picking partners. Our mate selection skills are not great. I say it's like we have to fix our picker first, which that sounds really weird, but we have to fix it because our mate selection strategy is not working well. So when you start to have sex early in the dating process, you throw this thing, your brain, in the garbage. My dad used to say to me when I was younger that we don't have enough blood as guys to perfuse both brains. That makes a lot of sense. So the more that we just wait, which is different than withholding, the more we pause, we allow, especially if we have a predisposition to accelerating relationship, we allow ourselves to be more discerning about whether this person is a match or not. So there's this idea, but I have chemistry with them. What happens if they're the one? And if I don't sleep with them, then they won't see that I'm the one and they won't be with me. No, the one will respect your desire to wait. The one will respect your boundaries. Now, I saw a video the other day where a guy was saying, a high-value male, like an alpha, if you withhold sex from him, he's just gonna go find another chick and he'll just replace you. Good. You don't want that kind of guy. Like, this is the kind of thing that filters this type of person out, a person who's not there for the deeper emotional connection. Even in that behavior is such a lack of empathy. You're not playing in the pickup artistry game. If you are, then great, then use all those strategies. But if you're actually looking for a long-term partnership, here's what I'll tell you is so obvious. Banging everybody is not a good filtration process to finding your person. Not banging anybody until they've earned the right and you feel safe. Your body is like, this is the next logical step. I love what Jay Murphy commented in my last video on how to change an avoidant person, that if you're not banging, you're talking. Unless you're talking while you're banging, like, yo, give me more, daddy. In all seriousness though, that's true that when you're not actually going deep into the intimacy so early, there is space to get to know each other and have dialogue. I know that when I was younger, I used to use sex and intimacy as a way of figuring out if someone was my person, as opposed to seeing that they currently seem to be my person after each date. Do I want to see them more? Do I want to learn more? Do I want to be intimate with them? What is the next step? As I got to that process, I was saying, oh, it's actually through the learning about them that is actually the gateway to the intimacy. So instead of intimacy as a gateway to relationship became the gateway to intimacy. Obviously a much more mature way of approaching these things, but this is called the maturation process. So let me tell you, as an elder millennial, which really means an older guy, that this is actually something you need to learn now. Someone is not your one, the moment you meet them and you have chemistry, because chemistry can draw us towards crappy people. The truth is that by holding back, you actually start to filter out the people that are just there to bang. Because let's be honest, a narcissist, someone who's just looking for the booty, they're not interested in developing a long-term, deep relationship with someone who's not bending to everything they desire, which, of course, there's so many puns in that. So actually a way to filter out these types of people who are manipulative and all that kind of stuff is to actually control the pace of intimacy. Because what you notice about relationships with people like narcissists is there's a rapid escalation and love bombing, and we're not actually controlling the pace of how the intimacy unfolds. You know, when we look at the data on short-term mating strategies, which means one-night stands, etc., and just friends with benefits, situationship kind of stuff, the people who are more successful at those dating strategies tend to be more narcissistic, sociopathic, all the things. So you actually, if you are participating in short-term mating strategies, you expose yourself to more of those types of people. And, you know, that just makes sense that they are. They're working more on their charisma. They're working more on their external self and how they look. They're really practiced at manipulation and saying all the right things. So when your body holds on a little longer, what it can do is actually trigger rejection and abandonment in those types of people, that they're not getting their way. And so their behavior, when you set this boundary or this need or expectation, actually brings out their behavior so you can filter them and be more discerning about your mate choices. So instead, allow someone to become your person. Allow someone to earn that spot. Now, when you're in a relationship, and my wife and I talk about this in our book, Liberated Love, that you need to establish the right pace and the right space. Now, if you're someone who's anxiously attached, it makes sense that we're going to actually use sex early to try to get someone to be close. We're going to try to be the best at it too, so we can intuit their needs and we can show them, man, I know how to move around the nutsack like nobody else. I know how to do this. Watch me tickle the bean. I know all, watch me. Because we're actually using this as a mechanism to prove our worth and our value. And it is actually through waiting and holding back that we actually increase the tension between two people. Now notice, if we have communication in the early part about what are our expectations about dating and relating, what are our needs and wants about sex and intimacy. What's so powerful about that is the number one reason that relationships end and fail is because people fail to create clear agreements at the beginning. This is your opportunity in the dating process to be able to do that, to be clear and to create these agreements and have these conversations. If you're afraid to have the conversation about the path of intimacy that you desire, then that's a pretty good red flag that either the relationship is not safe or you have a little more work to do on standing in your worth and your needs and your wants. This is the potency of relationship. This is the potency of interconnection. And I want to show you because I'm so good at drawing stick graphs and they really help us understand these things. But if you're someone who gives it up, and that means you're going towards a very natural pace for somebody in the dating process. Hey, a little bit this way, a little bit this way. Notice how you're being met? Oh, and a little more this way, and a little more this way. What is the first turnoff for somebody is when we give way too much. And then we make it all about them, and we're now just like praising on them and loving on them. What about us? What about us? So if you're someone who's prone to giving it up too early, you might have been taught or think, and society teaches this, especially to women, that your value is in your sexual accessibility, that your value is in your ability to be intimate, that you have no value, unconsciously, there's that perception, that you have no value unless you're having sex, that you have no value unless you're desirable. That's why when you hold it back, you have to actually heal the part of you that thinks you need to give it up early, that if I don't give them full access to me, then they're going to leave me. We want those types of people to leave you, the people who are not honoring the right pace and the right space for you. And it's just like, think of the opposite in this process. If you're dating someone and you've got the two people and the other person is always on the way out like that, they're never available. So there's this line, this is the graph of intimacy over time, intimacy. There's a natural progression, right? And maybe that's like first base, second base, home run, backdoor, all the things. But it's like there's a natural progression. So when I say holding back or holding on, it's not about directing yourself out of the relationship and never being available. That's avoidance. It's about, hey, do I feel safe to open up more fully? Oh, I'm going to lean a little more in. Oh, I'm getting anxious. I'm having some feelings come up. I'm going to communicate those things. Hey, I'm feeling like right now, and this is a big one for intimacy, I'm feeling like I'm really getting to know you and I'm liking you. If we're going to be intimate, I just need to have clarity that we're not seeing other people. So for me, I need to know that, and that's an important part of the next step for me. Now, for a lot of us, we'll say to the other person, what's going on between us? Instead of actually claiming what we desire, we're waiting for them to tell us what they want so that we can match what they want with what we want. That's highly manipulative. Instead, you want to say, hey, I really am loving getting to know you. I'd like to get to know you better. I'd like to move intimacy to a whole other level. But in order to do that, I need to know that we're not seeing other people. So for me, I'm not, and that's what I desire. How does that make you feel? Boom, boom, boom. That's how you create alignment in relationship. Stop trying to figure out how to become a little chameleon to match the people so that they desire you. This is about you be you. Set it out into the universe, the world, what you desire, what you want to create in relationship. Stand in that in how you date and relate. And there is never a loss from holding on a little longer for intimacy. You'll never regret that. And if anyone shames you about that, peace. You will often experience emotions like shame and guilt if we give it up too early because we're violating our own boundaries when we are intimate with people before our body actually says yes. Make sure you hit the like button on the video, also the subscribe button and the notification button so you don't miss any future videos, because we dive deeper into human connection and the human experience and uncover all the psychology of all the things so that you can get better at relationship and better at life. Let's go.